Good evening, everybody, and welcome tonight on day 31. I have rolled all day prepping and been talking to everybody, getting stuff prepared. Today, day 31. Here you go. There's that much stuff tonight. We'll get it done in 50 minutes. Thank you for being here. Everybody's jumping in now on this cold Saturday evening. Now, I did see the man in here right there. How about that one? Matsutsa, hello from Ukraine. Thank you for your support. Folks, that would be PZ, Zhenya Matsutsa. I told him yesterday, I said, hey, man, you've been renamed PZ. He goes, man, PZ? You know, Z's the bad letter, right? I said, yeah, but it's PZ. Free Birdie, God bless to Ukraine. Zhenya, welcome tonight. I'm going to show a video for you first. And, brother, you can just see the chat rolling. South Dakota, God bless you. Thank you for being here tonight. Child of God. Love that name. How much can happen in just 23 hours? Hey, Jacob, there you go. Hello from Washington State, Shirley Phelps. Anyway, buddy, I know you watch it every day. So, Pastor Matsutsa, you have our support. Everybody's saying hi to you now. Tomorrow night in 23 hours, well, it'd be 24 hours. Hello from Dean's Foods. Just turn the volume up and let everybody in Dean's Foods hear the truth tonight. Folks, we're in day 31. And I kind of changed the gears a little bit tonight because I want us to kind of reevaluate where we're at after 31 days. This is the 31st day in a row that we have streamed. It's the 31st day in a row that Ukraine has been at war with Russia. Russia invaded them. It's the 31st day in a row that that world has been turned upside down, as well as the rest of the world with so much chaos going on. So I thought today that there's major things happening today. But I thought today also, I really want to jump in and make sure that you guys understand what has happened to this point in the first 31 days. What's up, Sandaled Sister? I see you there. Welcome tonight. We'll start with a little video clip from Zhenya today he sent me to share. And what I wanted to share with you is tomorrow night, we're going to look to be live for the hour with Zhenya. He's going to plan to come in and be live with me for the hour. We're going to discuss the first month, look ahead to what's coming up next, get updates for everything. So tell your friends, tell your family members, share it to other people. Tomorrow night, a live interview from Ukraine. So let's start with this. I've got notes everywhere. I've got stuff everywhere. But the man's watching, but do you like watching yourself on camera, Zhenya? Here you go.
Hello. Just update. So here and here and here it goes to Strizhivka orphanage school. So tomorrow morning 6 a.m. it goes. And here guys packing humanitarian aid to Mykolaiv.
So there you have it. Quick little update. Now, if you remember, probably about 10 days ago, we told you that we were going to get involved with helping the orphanage in Vinnytsia. And that is supplies that are being sent to that orphanage. They've worked with them, met with them, helping them with their paperwork, seeing what they need for immediate needs. And Zhenya and the guys have put together some aid. And as he said, at 6 a.m. in the morning, that stuff will be headed to Vinica, to that orphanage, as well as a humanitarian trip to Mykolaiv. Dangerous, very, very dangerous place to go. So, folks, tonight I'm going to blow you away a little bit. Did I see Tia Spikerman? Hi, Tia. Sacramento, California. Love you. Tell Paul he's got to come visit me. Folks, I want to start here. You're not going to believe this. I'm going to show you some man on the street interview that was done and compiled in the last couple of days inside of Russia. And I think you will be interested. And I think it's the best place for us to start tonight. So let's start with that. Some interviews from Russia. It'll be transcribed for you into English so that you can read and get the translation. Here we go.
Здорово, что поставили, очень гордость берет, так что только за.
Чтоб войны не было, там в этом.
Разгром
В Украине
Зеленского
не
побыстрее бы.
Чтоб что прошло.
То реально санкции вот эти, что газировка стала дорожать, или киношки голливудские отменили. Ну а так-то из-за российские, из-за голливудские нет, и без разницы. Лишь бы просто войны не было.
Война там быстрее.
Война вот эта
разрушают сейчас там здания.
Тоже счет, конечно, Украина. Россия же освобождает от Чечни. Донецкая республика. Город Донбасс. Это, как говорится, теперь Россия стала. Я там воевал. Десантско-штурмовая бригада. 131-й полк.
Наш Советский Союз распался, и все бывшие Советские Республики стали якобы суверенными государствами. Но нам нужно собирать свое отечество заново. Целых 30 лет, даже больше 20 лет мы жили в оккупации. И вот сейчас для того, чтобы изменить и нашу жизнь, и жизнь всей целой страны, нам нужно и самим меняться, и поддерживать нашего руководителя, нашего главнокомандующего Владимира Владимировича Путина.
Folks, they're on a media blackout. They do not see what is going on. The media is completely controlled. As I've told you in the past, there are wonderful Russian people, and there are those they're blinded to this. I did see your message there, Paul. What's up, buddy? A lot of your sound training back in the day helped me prepare for all of this. Thank you. Miss you guys. Look forward to seeing you sometime extremely soon. Yeah, that's unbelievable. Last night I was watching a World War II documentary while I was on the missile monitor because last night the sirens were ringing pretty good in the Khmelnytsky region. I'm going to show you some of the data that I get and some of the screens that I can see that the guys have turned me on to. I get it instant. So a lot of times, like tonight, I go to bed at 2. But at 2, Zhenya's up, Rostik's up, my friends are up, and they're rolling. Because honestly, I just feel responsible. I'm a night owl anyway, but that's our partnership we've worked out. And I've called him and woke him up quite a few times over the last 31 days. But we'll talk about that more. But last night, I was watching a World War II documentary, and it was on the beginning of World War II, the early days with Poland and with France. And it was not a political documentary. It was just a documentary. There's a YouTube channel called Free Documentary, and they do a really good balanced. This documentary was actually made in Europe. It was not American. And it showed the beginnings of World War II. And what was interesting is at the beginning of World War II, when Germany was able to get Poland and really get France pretty quickly, the world was not prepared for that. Neville Chamberlain was out of touch. Sir Winston Churchill had not stepped up yet into his role. And Germany really didn't have the resources to accomplish the things that they did. In fact, at that time, the French army was the strongest army in Europe. And Germany actually ended up taking the French materials. I tell you all that to tell you this. Many people are trying to figure out, when is this going to end? Who would have thought that we would be 31 days into this and it's still going? It's still going. And it's today was a very, very difficult day on 31. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to show you, I'm going to give you the maps, I'm going to give you the video, I'm going to tell you the truth. But it's very, very difficult day there on day 31. And many people think and say, well, Putin, he's going to run out of resources. All the sanctions, they're going to lock Russia down and they won't be able to do anything. This documentary, by sheer accident, this documentary was made a year ago, but they made a statement last night in that documentary. Some historians out of Europe, I don't know where, European countries, very smart people, and they said, sanctions do not matter. Germany was sanctioned greater than any nation has ever been sanctioned in the history of the world. And Hitler was able to get the war machine going. But how did he fund the war machine once the war really started rolling? He took everything. You see, sanctions do not matter if you're just going to invade and take. Sanctions then are really off the table. I thought it was a very interesting thought line concept, and right on time for what I was watching and what we've been working on. So let's get going, folks. Here you go. Tonight, Zhenya, turn your clock up. Finally, Ukraine will be back on +7 hours in front of us. I know that many of you guys try to keep up with Chuck Pinkham. Wouldn't the people of Russia be fearful of speaking, especially someone recording? Yeah, not really. No. Russian people speak their mind. You notice those guys were privately in a park somewhere. Public demonstrations will get you, but unless it's really a setup, no, they share freely, as most cultures do. Americans are really the most closed culture, to be quite honest with you. Russians, Ukrainians, Europeans, very open, very sharing, always very willing to talk publicly. Thank you. That's a good question there. So +7 hours, +10 from California. I know that many of you guys think, okay, well, I'm going to bed. It's 8 a.m. in the morning there, because we talk about this every day. So they're moving from +6 to +7. I want to show you a couple of before and after pictures. This is the shopping mall in Podil in Kyiv. Some brilliant guy took a picture, split it in half, and you can see what it looked like on the left and what it looks like right now. This is the theater in Mariupol, what it looked like before and what it looks like now. And here is an office building in Kharkiv, what it looked like before and what it looks like now. Pretty interesting. On the left, let's start with that one. These two statements here kind of ring true together. Dietrich Bonhoeffer made this statement: silence in the face of evil is itself evil. God will not hold us guiltless. Not to speak is to speak. Not to act is to act. Dietrich Bonhoeffer. I've been trying to find at least a quote today or every other day that's applicable. And this one's spot on. On the left, I kind of just placed this tweet and information piece from the United Nations relief beside Bonhoeffer's statement, because United Nations reported today that 45% of the population inside of Ukraine is not eating normally now. The food is running low, and not in all the areas, but 45% of the people in Ukraine as a whole are not eating normally. Most are living now on one meal a day. So the nutritional value is not getting there to what they need. I want to give a shout out to Amazon tonight. Amazon is converting a warehouse in Slovakia, and it is only for humanitarian aid. They are going to do the humanitarian aid processing for free. You get it there, they get it into Ukraine, and Amazon said, we are the greatest, most brilliant shippers in the world. You get it to us, and we will get it to them for free. So big shout out there for Amazon. You know, a lot of these big companies we like to blast and rip on, but push comes to shove, Amazon, you're doing a good job on that one. Thank you for supporting the people of Ukraine free out of the nation of Slovakia. It's the largest Amazon warehouse in Europe, by the way, completely converted to a humanitarian aid station. Today in Berlin, in the airport, if you traveled internationally, this is something you will normally see. You take your dollars and you go buy the currency of the country you're in. You can see the money exchange here at Travelex. This picture was sent to me today from Berlin. And US dollar, and this is according to the euro, 129, the pound 97, Canadian dollar 159, Swiss franc 119, Czech krone 2902, the Russian ruble 0, Polish zloty 5.6, and the Japanese yen 154. But it was just a point. The ruble is not available. It's not being traded. That is a complete shutdown on the ruble there. So that is a good thing. Something we all are interested in each night is the general's report. And I've got so much stuff tonight. I actually printed this out. So what that means is the young man has to switch glasses. General staff, the enemy deployed almost all of its available national police. This is Russia deploying its national police in the occupied zones of Crimea, in Kherson, in the southern parts of Zaporozhye, Donetsk, and Lugansk. So it's now more than a military operation. They're literally trying to set the government up, and national police are in place. Sabotage is number one target in Kyiv right now. Many saboteurs are actually dressing up in Ukrainian military or Ukrainian clothes with some type of Ukrainian flag, and they're trying to do acts of sabotage in Kyiv. The enemy forces coming in against Kyiv are still coming in strong, but the defense lines around Kyiv are holding well. Russia stepped up its attack on Mariupol, continuing with airstrikes, artillery, shelling of civilian, military infrastructure, continuing to block all humanitarian aid corridors to the city. Defense forces of Ukraine are focused right now in the south on preventing the enemy from getting to Kryvyi Rog, Zaporozhye, and Mykolaiv. Let me go ahead and pull up a map for you guys so you'll know what we're talking about here. So the forces, we're going to look at the map a lot tonight. I've got it here and ready to go. They're looking now to protect Kryvyi Rog. They're looking to protect Zaporozhye, and they're looking to protect Mykolaiv. The lines are really strong through this region. So they're trying to protect these major cities here. Yes, there was a little bit of a liberation in Kherson. It was not in the city. I know Rick Berry's always interested in this, but the liberation took place in a small town in the region here. So Ukraine has actually moved that line back a little bit there. So good job, guys. Russia today revealed that they are moving more military equipment out of their long-term storages, of course, that they have around the nation. No different than we have. If you've ever been in Nevada and driven between Reno and Las Vegas, you get out there in the middle of the desert and you see these slanted things on the ground. From the air, you can't see it. It's a depot, folks. There's enough military stuff under that ground there to float a battleship. The same thing these other nations have. So Russia is moving stuff out of their storage to bring in to and against Ukraine. In Kherson, which is, let's go yellow here, in Kherson, major deal here. It's basically terrorism going on by the national police and the military. They are now going home to home. Many cases of abduction, torture, and if you have anything that looks as if it is supporting the Ukrainian nation, military, they are either taking you or punishing you. Kherson is a major deal. Chernihiv, let me pop this up so I can pull her up. Chernihiv, and we're going to talk about Chernihiv in just a moment, just here, north of Kyiv. Chernihiv, destroying humanitarian aid, and Chernihiv is completely surrounded. This is a pretty good sized city. It is completely surrounded. The only way in and out is through Russian checkpoints. Now, today, President Zelensky did say Ukraine is united in the desire to live freely, independently, and for the sake of our dreams and not other people's sick fantasies. He then said victory for Ukraine and peace for Ukraine are achievable, and they will be more expensive for us than gold, silver, and bronze of the entire world. But for now, we must stand, we must hold on, and remember, we will win. He then talked about the media onslaught. In many of these larger cities under Russian control, there is no access to Ukrainian television anymore. It's only state broadcast from Russia being broadcast. And he made a statement about that. He says they can disconnect our media all they want, but it will not help the occupiers. Disconnection of our television and the activation of Moscow's presenters, leaflets, propaganda, giving out of rubles, which in Russia pretty soon will be worthless, is not going to work as a strategy to break our wonderful Ukrainian people. He then gave a number on the update. This is not the real number, he says, but this is the official number. 4,500 residential buildings. And remember, these buildings are very large. You could have 250 people living in one building. Some of these buildings in these big cities are so big, you can have thousands of people living in one block of buildings. And 4,500 of those have been destroyed. 100 businesses or corporate enterprises, 400 schools and universities, 150 hospitals and healthcare institutions have been destroyed. Arestovich then came on today and he stated, we talk about him quite a bit, there is a new hot spot, and it is the town of Slavuch. Slavuch has become a major place. It's becoming like in Irpin. He then also said the enemy continues to concentrate its forces in Mariupol, where street fights are taking place in the very center down to the closing area. They are also moving in again against Izum and trying to reinforce around Kyiv. We are counterattacking, and they are being very effective. So it's a heavy day, folks. I want to show you this. You can't read it, but I can. And this is the average age of those in leadership for nations of the former Soviet Union. The average all the way to the right. And I want you just to think about this. This shows you about the newness of Ukraine. Just an interesting statistic. I'll start from the bottom. So this takes into account politicians, mayors, those in leadership, those in government. On a national down to a local level, it averages out their age. Russia, the bottom, the average age of leadership is 63.4. After that is Azerbaijan, 61. Uzbekistan, 59.5. Belarus, 57. Latvia, 55. Kazakhstan, 53. Tajikistan, 53. Kyrgyzstan, 52. Georgia, 50. Estonia, 49. Moldova, 49. Turkmenistan, 48. Latvia, 47. Armenia, 47. And Ukraine has the youngest average age of people trying to lead their country from the former Soviet Union, and the average age is 44. Thought that was pretty interesting. Now, folks, I went back today, and so everything that I have done from day one of doing this, and I'm just clearing a map because we're getting ready to use it. Everything that I have done and I have shared with you guys since day one, I have a documentation of it. So every slide you've seen, every graphic, every movie, every film, I have them all. So I thought it would be interesting today to do a comparison. I went back to the presentation from day one and I pulled the war maps. And we're going to compare them to day 31. The first day that I went live that night after Russia attacked, this was the war map. That's it. The red zone on the right was the already occupied areas of Lugansk and Donetsk. Of course, in the bottom, Crimea was already taken. And it shows how the troops were moving on day one. North into the Kyiv region. North down into Sumy and Izum area, and then pushing in from the east into the already occupied territory of Lugansk and Donetsk. Mariupol was under attack. Troops were coming in from the south, and the two southern cities were being bombed, as well as Zhytomyr and Ivano-Frankivsk was attacked on day one. Now, let's take a look at day 31. This is the map that I just took a screenshot of. This is some of the maps that I watch, have access to. This was happening just a few moments ago. So you can compare day one to day 31. The blue round circles you see are air raid sirens. Folks, today was a very, very difficult day. Basically, the entire nation was under an air raid all day long. And these were going on and off right now. So here's day one of what was called the heat map. After day one, this was the projection of where Russia was going to move into. They called this the heat map. Day 31, this is the war plan. So I'm not a military strategist, but day 31, you can see quite a bit of territory, the pushes, the angles they're looking at. And then if you look at the explosions, folks, that's the places today that were either struck by cruise missiles or by bombers. I don't have anything to say about it because I have so much other stuff I want to talk about, but you can see it with your eyes. I'm not making these maps up. This is reality. A few hours ago, this is the map I was sent. And you're saying, well, what is that? That was the air raid sirens going off in the entire nation. other than Kherson, Lugansk, and Donetsk, and of course, Crimea. The entire nation was under an air raid. This is how many churches have been destroyed. Last night, we were talking about the pastor from Melitopol who's been kidnapped. He is still kidnapped. I will keep you updated on that. But these are the churches that have been destroyed as of the 24th of March. Folks, not damaged, destroyed. The culture, the history, everything about Ukraine is trying to be erased. If this is not World War II to you and what Nazi Germany wanted to do to the rest of Europe and especially to the Jewish nation, then maybe go back on my YouTube and start at day one and start watching all over again. We're literally witnessing this right in front of our eyes, and we're doing everything that we can to help. Speaking of that, yes, I almost forgot. Speaking of that, have I told you guys today how awesome you are? I didn't? Sorry, you're awesome. Talked to PK a little while ago, and we do not have an exact number, but he will have an exact number early next week. But I can tell you, we have raised in 31 days over $65,000 direct access and aid to Ukraine. 65,000. So yeah, I made a thermometer and pushed the bubble to 100K now. We're going to keep supporting, and you guys are part of that. So for all of you, not much to cheer about, but for sure there's something there to cheer about. Thank you. Everyone is doing a great job. Together, we are making a difference. Tomorrow night, Zhenya will be telling us. I want to show you this. This is Drobitsky Yar. This was vandalized today. What would Elon do? Elon's doing a lot. Drobitsky Yar. This is a monument to where 15,000 Jews were slaughtered by the Nazis in World War II. And it's just a symbol of what is truly taking place and happening in Ukraine. Now, with it being day 31, I want to keep clicking here. I want to go back to the map, and I'm going to talk to you guys now and update you on what is going on around the nation with hotspots today. I want to start off by talking about Tokmak. Let me just get a color here. Let's go with red. Let's go with red. All right, we're going to go to Tokmak. Tokmak is right over here. I'm just going to circle it, and you can see it. It's below Zaporozhye. Tokmak, beginning April the 4th, you can only do business with rubles, period, beginning April 4th. I want to now move to Slavuch. This is what Arestovich said today is the hottest spot, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you what happened in Slavuch, but there's something you must first understand. Here is Chernobyl. If you remember in 1986, with the Chernobyl disaster, this whole region around Chernobyl, really swampland, foresty, is still radioactive today. But people still work at Chernobyl managing the disaster. Ukrainians, of course, now that is completely under Russian control. They've turned it into a base of operations. But people, Ukrainians, still have to work there. Slavuch is where these people live. You say, well, why don't they live in Chernobyl? You can't live in Chernobyl. It's a very few people, and they have to sign a document that says, okay, I know I'm living in a radioactive zone. I know I'm probably going to die from it, but that is where I want to live. They can sign a waiver and they can go live there. That's it. You can't live in Chernobyl. It's still a disaster zone. What, 96, 06, 16, 36 years later. So the workers actually live in Slavuch and they work in Chernobyl. So the mayor of Slavuch was kidnapped today. He said that 3 civilians were killed 3 days ago, and Russia, the army, offered Slavuch to just completely surrender the city. And the mayor told them, no, thank you. He was then kidnapped, and he was returned today. He was returned during a rally. I want to show you that rally. I've got it here. This is the rally happening today. This is Slavuch. That is gunfire. The people aren't moving. This was Chernigiv media reporting. This is Slavuch. They are using smoke and tear gas to get rid of them. You can see the people covering their faces, leaving the rally. So that's Slavuch. The mayor said that, of course, the military tried to disperse the rally. People were wounded. People have blood on their hands, and the people of our city oppose the occupation. But he then said, I'm proud of you, city. I'm proud of you, people, but we are now an occupied city. If the Ukrainian military, and I'm quoting him, does not arrive and does not come to the city, we will let you live in peace. You can even keep your Ukrainian flag. But the moment a Ukrainian military makes a movement against Slavuch, that's off the table. We are sending in the national police to monitor Slavuch, and it will be under our control. The military will be riding around today. It will be taking any weapons. It will be taking any things that could be used against the Russian military. And there will only be one way in and one way out of this city, and you will come through our checkpoint. That is Slavuch. Let's go here. Matsutsa's still watching. I told you it's Slavuch. Come on, man. What do rubles look like? I'll have to check. Oh, come on, man. That's a ruble. Sorry, Zhenya, but that's a Russian ruble. Ruble. Here's another one. Since you asked, I'll show you. That's a ruble. It's 2 rubles. That's worth a grain of sand. 2 rubles. Man, how did I know you were going to ask that question? I just popped that on my desk just in case tonight. I now want to move to the city of Chernigiv, which is right to the right. Let's continue here. Chernigiv, the update on Chernigiv. Armed forces in Chernigiv were struck by cluster munitions, equipment, and ammunition. There is a new assault on Chernigiv. Warehouses, infrastructure buildings were destroyed. Chernigiv basically now is completely encircled, and we are looking for plans to get the wounded out safely, but we cannot do that, says the mayor of Chernigiv. The issue of evacuation is extremely difficult. And at this point, there is nothing we can do. Despite that, our townspeople remain in the city and they're still trying to provide for their livelihoods. I'm here to tell you today that more than 200 of our civilians in Chernihiv have been killed. Yes, we have a city of 120,000 people, and we're doing our best to hold on. We stood against the Nazis in World War II, and we will stand against the Russians. We do all that we can to help each other. We volunteer, we serve, we give. Humanitarian aid does its best to give to us, but every Ukrainian citizen is helping one another. And if our city is wiped off the face of the earth, I tell you today, we did our best. The mayor of Chernihiv then made a public call to the nation of Germany. He says, "Dear Germany, in our city is a graveyard of soldiers that attacked us to wipe us out. We maintain it because life is precious, even though they wiped out our ancestors. Can you please help us deal with our situation?" That is Chernihiv. Now, I want to show you a video of a Canadian soldier. This is not an American. This is a Canadian. He's coming to Chernihiv. This video was sent to me today.
Brave, heroic defenders, the city of Chernihiv. I am coming. Others are coming. We will fight with you. We will win, or we will die. There is no other option. I am Dave Brown. I am coming. Tell the orcs I am coming. We will defeat them together. Or we will die. We will win. Slava Ukraini.
I know he sounds like an American. There you go, Jeremy Teeple. That's a Canadian. Hang on, Chernihiv. We're coming. Mariupol. You guys know where Mariupol is. By the time you're finished and we win this war, you're going to know every city in Ukraine like I do. Mariupol, down on the Sea of Azov, the city of destruction, reported today that 700 people from a city hospital number 1, was forcibly took by the occupying Russian force and taken out of the city, destination unknown. 700 people kidnapped today in Mariupol. Melitopol. This is where the pastor was kidnapped. We just talked about last night. This is a sad situation. The Russian military is paying people to create like false flag events, and anyone that shows any support for Ukraine, for example, a flag hanging on your window, sharing of media, doing anything that is anti-Russia. If your neighbor turns you in, you are arrested and you are taken away. Melitopol today. Day 31's tough, folks. Very, very tough. Kharkiv. Let's go up. Y'all can see the maps getting redder. Let's go to Kharkiv. Boom, red right here. There is a nuclear research station. This is not a nuclear power plant. I don't care what any media reports. There is no nuclear power plant in Kharkiv, but there is a research institute that has 38 of those cylinders that they do research and testing on. They do have nuclear material there that could be dangerous. That institute was once again shelled today. Folks, that's a very, very dangerous situation in Kharkiv. Now, let's go over here. Lviv. Oh my goodness, PG, you're going over there now. Yep. Today, massive missile strikes hit Lviv. Very large city on the western border, only 70 kilometers from Poland. Historical. Many internationals are in Lviv, even Americans, humanitarian organizations in Lviv. Many countries have their embassies, but Lviv was under heavy attack. The mayor came out and said neither history nor heritage nor foreign diplomatic missions. When is Europe going to get involved in this? In fact, I have, I'll show you that tomorrow. I've got a nice interview from Lviv. Now, why Lviv? The reason Lviv was attacked today, and not only Lviv, but there was also big attacks in Lutsk, in Rovna, in Zhytomyr, in Vinnytsia, in Kyiv. Of course, the battle still in Kherson, and the pushes to Kryvyi Rog and Zaporozhye, and an increase in Donetsk and Lugansk, and also Sumy. But I will tell you that this little town here, I know, Rick Barrett, you love it when I tell you this, Ukraine recaptured Trostyanets. So that's very important. Ukraine recaptured that town. That's a strategic place there in the Northeast. So why is Lviv so important? Why was Lviv struck with missiles that heavy? Because President Biden was very close to Lviv today. He made his speeches. Poland made their statements, and immediately the missiles started flying. This was today. President Biden having a conversation with Kuleba, the foreign minister, supporting, doing what he's supposed to do, saying we will be there, we will aid. No military boots on the ground, but we stand with you. More humanitarian aid was released. More promise of heavy weapons happened today. Now, Biden, the U.S. president, said, now, he not only met with Kuleba, but then he met with Poland, and then he made a speech. Maybe you saw this. I don't know. But if you didn't, I will tell you what he said. He said, for God's sake, and I'm quoting, I don't say that word that way, this man, Vladimir Putin, cannot remain in power. He then said, I will repeat to you today, Mr. Kuleba, he was there watching, we are with you, and he pointed at him. He then said, Putin said he wants to denazify Ukraine. This is a cynical lie. He wants to unseat Zelensky, who is a Jew, who is legally elected, whose grandfather fought Nazi Germany. I thought it was kind of interesting, that the Jewish statement was brought in. Yes, I've told you that Zelensky, his grandfather, and the story of President Zelensky, but pretty interesting choice of words there that President Biden called up his Jewish heritage. That will stoke the flames, I promise you. He then said the West needs to go ahead and brace for a long struggle ahead between democracy and autocracy. Unless something changes, this won't happen quick. This fight will not be won in a couple of days or months. He also said that Ukraine is on the front line of the struggle for democracy and freedom for the globe. He then said, it is not true that we are going to expand NATO. That is a lie that Russia is spreading. In general, everything is clear for what is required to join NATO. He then said, Ukraine, you will never be considered a victory for Russia. The U.S. military is here, but we're not here to participate on your soil. We're here to protect NATO. He then spoke directly to the Russian people, and I appreciated this. He said, the Russian people are not our enemies. I appeal to you Russians. You Russians are not our enemies. I do not believe, that you support the killing of innocent people and the bombing of schools, maternity hospitals, etc. Millions of people are now forced to leave their homes never to return because there are no homes to return to. These are not the actions of a great country. You Russians must remember how you were in similar conditions in World War II, and your grandparents remember that well. The blockade of Leningrad, when people fled the situation, cannot exist, and it's happening in Mariupol right now. Just yesterday, your country was a leader in the 21st century, and now your president's aggression is going to return you to the 19th century. He said then, I repeat, this man cannot remain in power. Folks, that's take your political stuff off the table. It's a big statement. Putin has no clue about internal American politics. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about Biden. He doesn't care about Trump. He doesn't care about any of that. What he cares about is himself and his agenda. He thinks he's greater than all of that, so it's irrelevant to him. Biden called him out and said he will not remain in power. Immediately, Zhenya will confirm it tomorrow night, the missiles started firing. Now, Poland then came out, got bold, made a statement. They said, Poland, we are now standing that Kaliningrad must be returned to Poland. You're sitting there going, what on earth is Kaliningrad? Well, I'm going to show you, folks. This is getting a little crazy. This is the border of Poland. Okay? Let's go blue for Ukraine. Of course, the border of Ukraine. And, of course, Crimea. And let's do Belarus in yellow. Of course, everything to the right's Russia. And then let's do Lithuania in a light blue. Do you guys now see this little red territory here? Maybe you did not know this. Let me put the map up for you. Maybe you did not know this. Man, you got to miss my coloring. You've got Ukraine, Poland, Belarus in the yellow, Lithuania in the blue, and then the little red triangle there. Folks, that is ground claimed after World War II so that Russia would have access up there to that region of the Baltics. That is called Kaliningrad. It's Russia. But Poland came out to say today, you know what? You're fighting against Ukraine. We remind you that you have Polish territory in Kaliningrad. Kaliningrad, and I'm quoting now, has never been Russia. These are conquered lands, and today it's time to return them to Poland. They should not be under Russian occupation anymore. We have a legal claim to it. The foreign minister then named 5 steps to defeat the Russian Federation. International community must aim to arm Ukraine to the teeth, making Putin's goals unattainable. U.S. must begin immediately to rearm and resupply NATO so that we can push weapons to Ukraine. NATO must step up its border of the eastern flank and defend it. Sanctions must remain in effect until Russia moves beyond the ability to operate, Ukraine is restored, and reparations are made. And finally, every perpetrator of military atrocities must be brought to justice. Very, very interesting. So there's the deal on Poland. Now, while this is happening, folks, I've got to share this with you. Poland once again reiterated today, and what I'm showing you here is actually the Russian embassy in Warsaw. The Polish flag is there. I put a circle there. The Russian flag was taken down, and the EU flag was taken and placed there. It's possible that all Russian diplomats are now gone from Poland. There is no confirmation on that, though. I'm going to come back to Medvedev later. And 800 soldiers from Hamas are on their way to Belarus right now. Call it what you want. Serious. And this territory, this headline here talks about a new dispute that is opening up between Russia and Japan. You say, PG, we've got enough going on with Ukraine. I say, I know we do. But now, folks, you need to be aware of this. I'm going to tell it to you now. Right here. These islands north of Japan and south of Russia. Japan came out very directly today and said, we are going to take our islands back from Russian occupation. Of course, Russia at that point, they deployed 3,000 troops out of the Vladivostok region, pushing down toward Japan. The Japanese MP, which is one of their senator guys' leadership, he said, maybe it's time for a joint clash with Russia between Japan and Ukraine. This may happen if the negotiations do not work out and our territory is not returned to us. Folks, it's getting a little crazy. Not only that, I'll come over here. You got Japan. You've got more troops in Abkhazia, which is right here, coming. And today, Azerbaijan began to fight against Russian occupation. Okay, I can't have many more colors on the map. This all started 31 days ago. It didn't. It started in 24. It started 30 years ago, but this latest outbreak started. So that's where we're going to leave it. I do want to give a. I like to honor people, and I want to honor tonight this lady. Her name is Katarina Stupnutska. She's a hero. She was honored today by the Ukrainian government. She was a military doctor from the beginning of the full-scale invasion, was at the epicenter of the fighting. She provided assistance to the wounded under enemy fire during heavy fighting for the city of Makariv. She was killed when she was directly hit by a shell that served, or in a medical building that she was serving in. Today, she was awarded posthumously the title Hero of Ukraine. So tonight, we pay a tribute to this lady, Katarina Stupnutska. Very, very sad. I want to show you one last thing, and we're out of here. One last thing, and we are out of here. We will see you tomorrow night. Thank you guys for being here. So much stuff tonight. We'll have so much stuff tomorrow night. It's amazing how every 23 hours it just changes so much. Today was a massive day, and today was a very difficult day. So continue to pray for Ukraine. Once again, as you can tell, that's the wrong button, but that's the wrong button. That's the right one. We are doing a phenomenal job on raising funds, and they're getting there. I think it was either yesterday or today, another batch was sent. So thank you for that. Thank you for everything that you are doing. I want to give one little last video tribute as we roll out of here. It's a Saturday night. You're okay. You're not turning your clock forward tonight. I get sent so much stuff, and I try to keep it to an hour, but it's not always the easiest to do. But for sure, I want you guys to see this tonight, right here. Vladimir Putin said a while back that nobody knows who Ukraine is. And I'm pretty much quoting. He said, nobody knows who Ukraine is. Nobody cares about Ukraine. and nobody will support Ukraine. Really? Check this out. Good way to go out on a Saturday night. Been a heavy day. Been a very heavy day. But this will put a smile on our face and our Ukrainian brothers and sisters tomorrow when they're watching this. Nobody knows Ukraine exists. Yeah. Nobody knows anything about Ukraine. Yeah, right. Hey, may the Lord bless you. Pray for our brothers and sisters over there. Tough day today. Tomorrow, probably going to be a tough one as well. Tell your friends and neighbors, tomorrow night, live for the hour, going to have PZ, Pastor Zhanian here. We're just going to be talking about updates, what's happening, and what we're looking at. Already got quite a bit of stuff loaded. I did see you there, Josh Reyes. God bless you. God bless all of you. Thank you for being here tonight. Continue to pray for Ukraine. Remember, we're a part of this. Your job is to like, share, and comment. Tell your friends and neighbors. When you're watching on YouTube, please go down there and hit that like button. It really helps them spread that video out more. I'm not a computer guru on that side, but I know it works. God bless you. Be in church tomorrow and be who God's called you to be. Do something good for somebody. We love you. God bless you. Good night.